Hey, shalom, shalom. First of all, I want to give all praises, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishop, the great millstone, rule well. Peace and blessings to you fellow brothers pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. And in this lesson, it's going to be more of a tutorial of basically how to, make a alcoholic herbal tincture. This is going to be this is basic. I'm going to try to speak in very basic terms, nothing complicated, right? And we're going to go through, I was already working with some tinctures, and I've been wanting to do this video for, a little minute now, but, the spirit's on me now. But let me just go ahead and do the videos, the Shabbat anyway. So this is before camp. So again, I was already going to be working with tinctures. So I said, let me just do a video. Lord's will, it's edifying to the body, and those who need this, they can benefit from this. So again, we're going to make a basic herbal tincture with alcohol. Okay, using dry herbs mainly, but I'm also going to show you how to use the fresh herbs too. It's going to be a little different, but it's really not a complicated process. Now there's two processes. We're going to do actually maceration. Basically meaning we're going to take the herb, we're going to put it in a jar, we're going to pour an alcohol solution on top of that, and we're going to let that sit for at least minimum 4 weeks. I like to go 6 weeks, all right, but a minimum of 4 weeks, and we're going to shake that, every day, right? So I'll show you that process. Okay, let's just get right into it. Because there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so we're going to do three tinctures, maybe four. We're going to do a digestive blend, all right? But you can use this. This is just a base. You can literally use this for pretty much almost all tinctures, almost all tinctures, but not all. But this is for a basic, just like a basic tincture. Okay. Now we're gonna do a 1-to-5 ratio. I'll show you what that is very shortly. But we're gonna work with let's see. We're gonna work with about 4 herbs. The first herbs let's do a digestive blend. It's a 2-part blend of gentian root, which is one of my favorite herbs for digestion, digestive bitter, gentian root, and ginger root, one of another favorite herbs for digestion. They work really well together. This is like a really known formula, like a base formula to start to add other herbs to. Gentian and ginger. Now you could do these separate. You could do each tincture separate and then combine them in the ratios that you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a gentian ginger combination. We're going to add it together. So what are you going to need, right? You're going to need some type of mason jar, and we're not going to do a big tincture. So this is just for example. So we're going to use this is a quart size mason jar, which is about 4 cups. A quart is about a little over 4 cups in a metric system. Okay, so you're going to need a mason jar, you're going to need the herbs, okay, and you're going to need alcohol. Now what I have here is organic sugarcane alcohol. It's a little harder to get, not too hard, you get online, but you can go to the liquor store and you can get a vodka. You can really make a tincture out of any alcohol. It just depends on the percentage. But vodka is going to be your main alcohol that people make tinctures out of, which is like an ethanol. Just because it doesn't have added flavors to it. So you can get you like an Everclear, and there's other brands as well. You want at least 120 proof. Okay, which is, I believe, 60% alcohol. You're going to probably get around 60% alcohol. Now, I'm using 45% alcohol. I'm using 45% alcohol for the dry tinctures. But if you go and you get a 120 proof, or if you can, a 190 proof, which is 95% alcohol. This is pretty much what I have here. I get it in 5-gallon drums of 190 proof alcohol, which is 95%. And then from there, I cut it down to whatever percent that I want. So in this case, I cut it down to 45%. But you don't have to do all that. You can just go get you some Everclear, or there's some other brands too as well that are at least 45% alcohol. So you want to at least get 45% alcohol and higher, right? So I have 45% alcohol. That's what we're dealing with. Usually if you go to the store, you're going to probably get around a 55 to 60%, and that's totally fine. That's great. That's great for what we need, okay? Again, this is a basic tincture. So we have the jar. Let's get right into it. We're going to do 4 ounces of the dry herbs. Okay, so we do 4 ounces of the dry herbs, right? Then we're going to need we do 4 ounces of the dry herbs, and we're doing a 1:5 ratio. So you would times 4 the dry herbs times 5, right? Which would be 20, if I'm not mistaken, right? 20. 5, 10, 15, 20, right? 20. So we need 20 ounces of alcohol, okay? So 4 ounces of herb. So what we're going to do is, you need a scale, okay? We're going to do 2 ounces of gentian root, 2 ounces of ginger root, okay? And this is a classic, basic formulation for digestion. It's a digestive bitter. So you would take this maybe 5 minutes, 5 to 10 to 15 minutes before you eat, which will help stimulate digestion and help get things going and help break down food faster, okay? As well as it would stimulate the liver as well. It will remove gas, bloating out of the body. It's a really good base formula. I love gentian ginger for digestion, okay? And it will increase, if you have low appetite, if you are in a debilitated state, if you want to increase of appetite, gentian is a great herb to start increasing appetite. And we have another herb that we're going to do as well. So let's get right into it, okay? And there's so many people out there that have done videos like this, you know. So I'm just putting in my 2 cents here as well. Lord's will the body can be edified. So I zero the scale out, right? I zero the scale out, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 2 ounces. Give me a second. Okay, we're going to put 2 ounces of gentian root. Okay. Okay, 2 ounces of gentian root. Okay, gentian is a bitter herb. Okay, so once it hits the tongue, it starts to stimulate digestion. Bitter herb, and a lot of people are deficient in bitter herbs, okay? Then to balance out the formula, because gentian is cooling, to balance out the formula, we're going to add ginger to warm it up. Okay, ginger is a herb that helps move gas out of the body, okay? It can do a lot of other things too, but we're just keeping it super basic, okay? And then we're going to add 2 ounces. We'll zero the scale out again. We're going to add 2 ounces of ginger. Okay? Classic basic formula. Gentian ginger. And then from this formula, this base, you can add many other herbs. Okay? So we have a total of 4 ounces of dry herbs. So we're doing a 1:5 ratio, and the 1:5 ratio just gives us the strength of the tincture. Because when you make a tincture, you want to know how strong the tincture is, so you know what's your dosage, right? Now we're doing a more exact measurement of making a maceration tincture, but there's also another method called the folklore tincture method, where you don't really measure it out. You will just fill the herbs up about halfway, right? And then you'll fill it up with alcohol to the top. It works too, but here we're gonna be a little bit more exact, and we're gonna know the potency of the medicine, okay, the herbal medicine. So now that we have 4 ounces, either you can have a measuring cup and measure out 20 fluid ounces, but I have the scale here that will help me measure out 20 fluid ounces. So now I'm gonna measure out 20 fluid ounces of 45% alcohol, okay? Okay, cool. Boom. 20 ounces of 45% alcohol. Put the top one. See that? I'll probably bring it a little closer so you can see. Now, important thing, you want to label, okay? You always want to label everything when you're dealing with making any of these herbal extracts, because they almost look almost all the same. Okay, so you can get confused. You don't want to take the wrong herbal tincture, okay? Because the medicines are powerful. They're not going to be like a prescription, but they can still harm. Okay, if you're all over the place. Okay, so we're gonna label this. We're gonna put gentian, 2 ounces, dry. Ginger, 2 ounces. Dry, okay? 1:5 ratio. 1 part herb, in this case, 4 ounces dry. 1 part herb to 5 ounces alcohol, okay? What they call menstruum, your alcohol solution. So 4 times 5, right? So it's gonna be 5 times whatever dry herb you put in there. Okay, that's a 1:5 ratio. When you come down into ratio, you increase the strength of the tincture. So we're doing a 1:5, and this is like a base. Mainly all tinctures is going to be around a 1:5, and then from there, you can adjust the dosage. So if you have a 1:4, you would take less tincture than a 1:5 because it's stronger. You have a 1:2 or 1:3. Okay, but making a maceration tincture, depending on the herb, it's really going to be around a 1:5. That's a good ratio. So we put the 1:5, and let's put the percentage of alcohol that we just used, 45% alcohol, right? And then we're going to put the date as well. You always want to put the date, okay? So 7/13/24, boom. So now you know what this tincture is, and what you will do daily is you will just shake it up. Agitate it. You just agitate it, and it will help draw out the properties of the tincture. Now, do I do this all the time? No, I'll do it a couple of times. It doesn't matter. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Okay, so boom, we made that, okay? All right, cool. Now, you need to let this sit for at least 4 weeks, okay? Maceration, you need to let it sit for 4 weeks. I will go 6, okay? Boom, so we have gentian ginger. That is a basic digestive formula to stimulate digestion, right? And to help remove gas out of the body. Also to calm down. Ginger has anti-spasmodic properties, right? To help calm down spasms like a tight stomach. And spasms literally anywhere in the body as well. But this is a classic digestive formula. Okay, boom. We did a digestive formula there. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's do another one now. Okay, another digestive herb. One of my favorite herbs. Digestive and anti-parasitic herb. It does a lot more. It does a lot. All these herbs do a lot more, but we're just giving you some basic, the main uses of these herbs. Gentian is mainly used for digestion. Ginger is mainly used for digestion. Okay. Wormwood is a digestive herb. It's also a bitter herb. Okay, it's also a bitter herb. And bitter herbs, most bitter herbs also are anti-parasitic herbs as well. And this is a classic example of this, wormwood. So we have the cut and sifted wormwood herb. Okay, not the powder. So we're not doing the powder. I'll get into how to do a powder tincture as well. You can do it but it's a little bit more tricky. Not necessarily, but it's better to do it with the cut herbs. So depending on the density of the herb, you may be able to get a 1 to 5. You might not be able to get a 1 to 5. So let's just work through that. So wormwood. Okay. Same concept. We're gonna do 4 ounces of wormwood. Okay. Now you can do this with almost any tincture. Okay. And if you get a quart-sized jar, depending on the density of the herb, how much space the herb takes up in the jar, you can pack about 4 to 5 ounces in one of these. It just depends on herb. Some herbs it's gonna be more. Some herbs you're not gonna be able to, like herbs that have leaves, and I'm gonna show you that in a second when we do another herb. Okay, wormwood. So put that on the scale. It's a simple process. Okay, we're gonna measure out 4 ounces of the dry herb. Now, if you have a bigger mason jar, you could do more herbs. Okay, you could do a bigger style tincture, and I have an example of that over here, and I'll show you that. So wormwood, we're gonna measure out 4 ounces of wormwood. So this is 3. This is actually 3. But you see how it's taking up a lot of space. You see that? It's taking up a lot of space. So with herbs that are like leafy, you might, if you do 4 ounces, you might not be able to get all the alcohol. You might need more alcohol. So what I'm gonna do is, because I've done wormwood before, I know how wormwood is. I'm just going to do 3 ounces of wormwood, because you want to make sure, right? This was easier. These are roots. Roots are a lot easier, okay? When you start dealing with leaves and flowers and stems, it's a little bit harder. Roots are easier because they have a less density. They're more dense, less surface. There's a less surface area, right? Because this is 3 ounces, but the ginger didn't take up this much space. So I'm just going to do it with 3 ounces. Okay? So if we're doing a 1 to 5 again, because you might run into this problem if you do a 1 to 5, it might be a 1 to 5, a 1 to 6, or 1 to 7, or 1 to 8, which is a pretty weak tincture. You're going to have to take more tincture to get the same result of a 1 to 5. Okay? So here, wormwood, we're not going to do 4 ounces. We're going to do 3 ounces. Okay? And I wanted to show you this because you'll run into a problem of like, well, hey, I put 4 ounces of herb in there, and then I put 20 ounces of alcohol, and the alcohol doesn't cover the herb, because you want to make sure that the alcohol covers the herb, or if the herb is exposed to air, it can mold. So you want to make sure it's always under the alcohol solution. Okay, and the alcohol is pretty much it's going to preserve the properties out of the plant. Okay. So this is 3 ounces. Okay, and then we're gonna do 15 fluid ounces, right? Because we're doing a 1 to 5 ratio. Okay, so let's see what we got. Okay, cool. So it does, if you see here, it does cover the herb. You got to shake it, but it's a lot denser. Let's see if you can see that. I'm only going to do 3 because if I put another ounce of herb here and then put another 5 ounces of alcohol, it's going to really come all the way to the top. It's going to be a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to do it with 3 ounces. Okay, and that's fine. And I'll just label this the same way I labeled that. It's still a 1:5 ratio. Okay. And then when we press this out, we should get about close to 15 ounces after we press the tincture once it's done. So let's label this again. But you'll run into that problem, and we're gonna do another herb to show you that again. Wormwood, right? So we put the name of the name of the herb, right? And then how many ounces we put in it. There's 3 ounces dry. Right, the ratio is a 1:5, still a 1:5. We did 3 ounces dry to 15 ounce. You know what? I should have put. Did I do the 3, 5, 10, 15? Yeah. No, I did that right. Okay. 45% alcohol. Right? Okay. And then the date. Okay. Boom, the date. Now let's do one more before I show you. Let's actually do, you know what, that's fine. Let's do still 2. Now, what I have here is, now we just did everything with dry herbs, okay? We did everything with dry herbs. Can you make a tincture with fresh herbs? Absolutely. You can make a tincture with fresh herbs, absolutely. Okay, what I have here is fresh ginger. Okay, the same thing I have here. Let me show you. I don't know, the light is bad here. This is fresh ginger. Okay. So the ratio is going to be a little different with fresh herbs. Because of the water that's in the fresh plant, you have to do a higher percent alcohol. Because what will happen is, as the alcohol starts to leach out the properties of the plant, it's going to actually start to leach out the water of the plant as well and dilute the alcohol percentage. So say we did it with 45% alcohol, we put the fresh ginger in there. This tincture is going to go bad because it's going to dilute it maybe down to 10%. Okay, because it's going to start to extract, because ginger has a lot of water in it. So if you're doing fresh herbs, the ratio is 1 to 2. 1 part fresh herb, okay, to 2 parts. Now we're 2 parts alcohol. Okay, 2 parts alcohol, and the alcohol has to be at least, I would say at least 80%. You can get away with 80%. Okay, in this case, 95. You usually want to do it with 95%, but 80 to 95% alcohol. Now, that's hard to get in certain states, but if you go online, you can get that. You can get 95%, which is 190 proof alcohol. I know in Texas and other states you can just go to the store, the liquor store, you can actually grab it. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna slice up ginger nice and thin. And let's just put a few ounces in there. Not gonna do a whole bunch. Okay, cool. Last one. Same thing. The ratio is just different. The ratio is different and the alcohol percentage is different. It must be at least 80 plus for most fresh herbs. Really want to use 95% because because ginger has a lot of water content, right? When we put the 95% in, it's probably going to bring it down probably to like 60%, which is still going to be stable. Now, alcohol tinctures are going to be stable around 20%. So if it gets under 20%, you're doing bad. It's going to more than likely go bad. Okay, so a higher alcohol percentage, the better most of the times, okay? So let's put a few ounces in here of fresh ginger. Okay, 7 ounces, right? 7 ounces of fresh ginger, different from dry ginger. Okay, fresh ginger we're gonna do a 1 to 2. So we got 7 ounces. That means we need 14 fluid ounces, okay, to make a 1 to 2. Now this is 95% alcohol. You will buy it from the store, right? I'm going to change the scale here and I'm going to go and put 14 fluid ounces. Boom. See that? The label, you're going to label the same. There's different measurements, right? So fresh, you say fresh ginger, right? 7 ounces. Okay. Then the ratio is 1 part herb fresh, okay, to 2 part alcohol when you're dealing with fresh herbs. Okay, because the fresh herbs are going to release water into the solution, which is going to dilute it down. So you have to do a higher percent alcohol, okay? So 1 to 2 at 95% alcohol. And then you just add the date. Boom. It's a very simple process. And you can have several different herbs at your disposal, whether it's for digestion, whether it's for if you're doing alcohol-based tinctures, okay? Now, the spirit might get on me to do some non-alcoholic basic tinctures, okay, and other ways to receive the properties of the herbs as well, maybe in the future. Okay, so now you shake this daily, right? And you just put it in a closet somewhere, you know. You just shake it daily out of sunlight, right? So, for example, boom. This is the ginger now. So this is, you see, this is the difference. Let me show you. Let me see if you can see. The light is bad. The lighting is bad here. See the difference? This one's been going, this one's just been sitting there since March. I haven't touched it. But as it sits, it's going to start to pull the properties out. It's going to get darker. Okay? Now, what do you do next? Well, you strain the tincture. Okay, you strain and you bottle. Okay, what I have here is a nut milk bag. Okay, and you're gonna really need this when you're straining out leafy material. Okay, when you strain out leafy material. Okay, so let's strain this one. This one's been sitting for a couple of months. Right? Since March. So the great thing about tinctures is they have a longer shelf life. Okay? So you can, because fresh ginger, you can't keep fresh ginger. It's going to go bad in a couple of days. Okay? So fresh ginger, I pour in the nut milk bag. Say this was wormwood. Say it was gentian, whatever herb it may be. You pour it in the nut milk bag, and then you squeeze, you press it. Then try to get as much of the alcohol as possible. Okay? And you're gonna press and press and press. Now I have a tincture press, so I don't do it by hand. But that's what you'll do just at home. You can do it. I started off doing it by hand. Do you need a tincture press? No, you don't. Okay? Okay. Then let's get another mason jar real quick. Okay. Now you have your pressed tincture without the herb. See that? And then I'm just going to slap that old label on it. See, then now you can bottle. So you can put it, you get you some tincture bottles. These are 2 ounces. See what I'm saying? Okay. Then you dose. You see that? And what the great thing about tinctures is you can dose by the drop. So you can control the amount of medicine. And now we know that it's a 1:5 ratio. So we can pretty much guarantee, for the most part, how much medicine we're getting basically from each drop or each milliliter. So now we can control the dosage. Because the thing about herbal medicine is most people miss the mark because a lot of times they're using the wrong remedy, but they might be using the right remedy, but their dosing is off. They're a lot of times using too little, and their duration is off. I'm gonna close it there. I was gonna do more, but I think that's just for like a basic video of how to make a tincture. So again, we did a 1:5 ratio. That's where you want to start. Start there at a 1:5. Okay, a 1:5 for dry herbs, a 1:2 for fresh herbs. And the majority of the research, when you look into it, they're going to give you these two ratios. These are the 2 ratios to start off with. And a lot of times when you go into herbal books, let me show you a good book. Okay, right here. I had this book for a couple of years. This is a good book to get if you're into something like that, this is called, and of course I'm not a sponsor or anything, but just I have several herbal books, which I love them all, but this one is a great one because it goes into how to actually make the herbs. Okay, how to make a tincture, how to make a glycerin extract, how to do percolation, which I have, that's percolation over there, that's a different method. How to do maceration, how to do medicinal strength teas, right? As well as they'll give you the dosing for each herb. So for example, right? Because the only way to get good and to understand the herb is you got to work with the herb. Okay. Let's read gentian, what they have gentian, and then they give you also they give you how many drops or how many milliliters to use for that tincture, right? So gentian, this intensely bitter herb is commonly used to stimulate digestive function. It's often combined with other bitters and carminatives for this purpose. It is best taken in liquid form prior to meals, and that's what we did. We combined it with a carminative herb, which is ginger. And then it gives you also the tincture root dosage. It tells you a 1 to 5, they call for a 30% alcohol, right? We use 45. 10 drops to 2 milliliters, up to 3 times daily. See what I'm saying? So I'm going to close it there. I pray that the lesson was edifying. Until next time, shalom to the elect.